Right. Looks like another short clip. I'm sure the next and final one will be one of the longer ones. Well, I suppose there's some continuity since we fought them in the previous chapter. That's worth something. But since we're going to go through a handicap match after dealing with a match where one of them only interfered, yeah, I'm probably going to be completely stonewalled here. Sure, it's a bit of a shame that I'm not going to bother getting the world title in this playthrough, but again, I've kind of run out of steam considering what the game's story sends our way. It just doesn't feel worth me going absolutely insane trying to push my way through things in this kind of frustrating way. Can you tell that I'm not really the type to do Dark Souls-style games? A bit of a shame, since the storytelling and aesthetic really seems like it would grab me pretty well, but the entire gameplay gimmick of die repeatedly and force your way through challenge after challenge, I'm sorry to say I don't have the patience to do that sort of thing, and it doesn't sound fun, especially these days. Hell, I don't even have the patience to go through this fight at normal speed. It's a 2-on-1 in a game where the mechanics were fundamentally meant for one-on-one encounters. And of course, the AI is reasonably skilled here, where a single one of them could be a decent enough challenge to deal with. And both at once is just, hell, I'm even gonna cut the footage of me trying to deal with them a second time, simply because I'm this demoralized this far into the game. The sooner I get to the final clip and start ending this thing, the better. Even if I promised myself I would do one exhibition-style cage match and Royal Rumble before getting back to working on Metroid Prime 2. Well, I'm not going down quietly. That's got to be worth some measure of respect, even if I have already resigned myself to losing the moment we saw it was going to be a 2-on-1. Well, at least they're momentarily letting themselves get divided up. Wasn't expecting to have more on our spirit bar than they did. Am I letting my fatigue for this game allow me to just overestimate their chances against us? Synchronized self-spankings. I've got to admit, that was funny to see. How did she manage to miss us? It certainly looks like we deserve to be hit by that kick from where I'm sitting, and apparently deciding not to stay in the thick of it, dealing with both at once, we ended up losing the spirit bar progress we had, and now both of them have the advantage over us. Excuse me for saying this implies we'd be screwed if one opponent just kept taunting us while we beat down on their partner uninterrupted. I know the game wanted to give some measure of benefit for taunting, but something about the execution there makes it feel like something that was meant for purely one-on-one encounters and doesn't really translate well to this. But then 2-on-1 matches are supposed to be lopsided against the guy who's outnumbered. It's the entire point behind the match type. Still, doesn't change the fact that I feel like the handicap matches that title runs give us are just frustrating for the sake of being frustrating, and they threw too many at us in too many different titles. Really wish I felt like hitting the both of them numerous times with a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire was actually doing something here. Sure, they recoil when hit, but like I keep saying, it doesn't matter all that much if I have absolutely no idea how much damage that actually does to them. I don't know if we'd be close to getting a victory against these two if I managed to pin one of them right now. I can only guess, and that kind of guesswork is all the more frustrating in matches where there's more than two people in the ring, or wherever they happen to be fighting. was kind of expecting the double team moves earlier than that. Well, at the very least, it looks like Eddie might be the more injured of the two. Not that I'm really in any position to take advantage of that as far as I can see. As many times as I've dropped them to the ground, I have the distinct feeling they've combined done more damage to me than I've done to them. That's not doing my morale any favors, and if my morale isn't doing too well, I'm probably not going to press whatever advantage I might have as much as I should. You know, it's honestly funny. Looking at the footage, even sped up, I can't help thinking I was doing better than I actually thought I was at the time I recorded this first attempt of the match. But again, I'm pretty damn worn down going through this game, so it's not like I'm gonna boot up the emulator and try this again at a future date. At least my fatigue didn't completely sneak up on me like some of the other games I've left in a kind of incomplete state on this channel. Okay, why did China pick up a weapon just to drop it instantly? And what about the stop sign there? They're the ones grabbing the weapons from the crowd, so why is it I'm the only one who's actually using weapons against my opponents out here? It's not like they give a damn about coming across as rule-breaking bastards in a 2-on-1 match that came after an interfered 1-on-1, or that I care about using these various weapons all over the place to fend them off when I'm outnumbered 2-1 in a game where the combat system was built from the ground up for 1-on-1 matches. If anything, I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I can't find it in me to care at this point. And I'm sorely tempted to just roll the credits now and get on with other games. Still, there's not much footage left to go through on my drives. Less than an hour, including the credits. I remember this gameplay fondly enough to push myself through that much at least. Well, my mind is now going in a very dark direction. I'm thinking about Austin beating on his wife back in the day. Definitely not how nostalgia should be scratching at me right now. Hell, part of me is wondering why I don't give Austin any actual crap for pulling that kind of detestable sort of thing. Is it because he played a hyper-aggressive son of a bitch for years? And that was the time period when he was a hyper-aggressive bastard in his personal life? I mean, I also don't seem to have any issues with Randy Savage and Liz, or at least nothing is absolutely heated as with Benoit and Jimmy Snuka. Maybe it's just the fact that nobody died and all that, and I don't feel it's completely unforgivable. He could have changed, and he certainly... We haven't heard anything about him beating anybody after Deborah. Still kind of makes me feel a bit like an ass. Well, we predictably lost that match, so it's not like there's too much point in analyzing my feelings on that subject matter anymore. Again, going through this game is scratching my nostalgia itch in unpleasant ways now that I think about how things were for the people doing this stuff back then, and where many of them are now. Anyway, my attempted rematch against the pair didn't last as long as the first attempt, and considering my odd burnout, it's understandable I gave up there. Still, while we've had a decent number of the possible match types in this game, we have not done a cage match, so let's end this clip on that note. It's an exhibition match, so no storyline behind it whatsoever. Still, considering my opinion of the storytelling we've seen from this game, that's not too much of an issue. Part of me thinks it would have been a bit more satisfying to have Kane go up against Benoit in a Hell in a Cell match. I certainly would have liked to climb on top of a cage and chokeslam him in a way that would cause maximum pain. But while Hell in a Cell matches were a thing during the Attitude Era, just ask Mick Foley. The game designers apparently felt they couldn't fit it into the cartridge along with everything else. Well, take what you can get. Yeah, I just don't have much mercy in me to spare for Chris Benoit at the moment. Frankly, the only way this match ends is if someone climbs the cage and ends up on the other side. It's always a bit of an odd match type for me, especially when some announcers over the years talked as if it was some major feud-ending situation. I'm sorry, but it doesn't feel to me like it's ever been especially impactful, even in the 80s. Hell, no matter how much I liked the performers in the rings, if they finished the match with someone essentially running away and leaving the person they were fighting against in center stage, it just feels awkward. Still, it's a major match type that's included in this game, and we haven't done one yet. That's as good a reason as any to go through with it. Just like picking a play as Kane, a character I like very much, and never fully turned off of by the time when I was still watching wrestling, and fighting against Chris Benoit, a guy that back then I didn't give too much of a damn about, and near the time I gave up on wrestling, killed his wife and son out of nowhere. Yeah, may as well. I certainly don't see any reason not to. And while there are no pinfalls or submissions here, it's still generally a good idea to wear your opponent out before trying to leave the cage. The best and really only means of wearing them down is beating the crap out of them. I still feel like Kane should have had the chokeslam as his finisher, not the tombstone pile driver. Hell, The Undertaker doesn't have the tombstone pile driver in this game, and that's been a big part of his arsenal since 1990. Right, twitching on the ground feels like a good as time as any to start climbing. Again, the very way this style of match tends to finish doesn't do it for me, but hey, at least I ended this clip on a win. For the next and final clip of this game, I'm going through a Royal Rumble from beginning to end. Here's hoping I managed to make it entertaining, despite my fatigue for this game.